Hey Arthur, how are you?
Very well, thanks. Shake it off yourself.
Good, thanks Arthur. I actually wanted to ask you something. I saw in the news recently that a far-right activist who hates Muslims has been arrested under the Terrorism Act in the UK.
Are you talking about Tommy Robison?
Yeah, that's the guy. Would you happen to know why he was arrested?
Look, it's a long story, but I just want to start off by saying that Tommy doesn't hate Muslims. He's just opposed to Islam, the ideology.
I differentiate Muslims from Islam.
Right,
okay?
but what you don't do...
differentiate Muslims
Muslims
from
are people. Islam is an idea.
Yeah.
Islam's an idea, a bad idea.
And
it's an ideology.
If you're saying that the problem is with Islam, are you accepting that you're Islamophobic?
Because there are 100 verses in this...
Yes or no?
Okay.
Are you Islamophobic?
There's no such word as Islamophobia. Phobia is an irrational fear. It's not irrational to fear these things. Now, if I hold this book up and say, there will never be peace on this earth so long as we have this book, it's a violent and cursed book. That's
wrong.
Can I tell you who said that? Can I tell you who said that?
Can you put
Sir William Gladstone
Right, you
said
wouldn't do that with...
Sir William Gladstone
Would you do that with the Bible? Show some respect.
Show some respect.
Show some respect.
Have you read this book?
For people...
Have you read this book?
There are over a billion people...
There are 100 verses in this book that incite violence and murder against us.
There's a lot of background to the story, like the fact he exposed large circles of older men grooming young girls when the establishment was intent on sweeping it under the rug because the majority of these men were associated with a particular ideology.
Okay, there's a link to all these things. The same with the Muslim grooming gangs. As a common denominator, you have to look for what the issue is, what links them all. They're all Muslim.
And they were scared of being labelled racist. But let's just focus on the recent arrest. Recently, Tommy organised a large rally where people from all across the UK came together to celebrate being British.
They are still coming in their thousands as far as you can see, yeah? We haven't got...
At the rally, he played a film he had made which he'd been told he could face up to 2 years in prison for playing. The film detailed an incident from a few years back where a Syrian refugee was supposedly waterboarded by a racist white British boy.
Our story appears to start and end in a brief playground incident at Almondbury Community School in Huddersfield. A playground scuffle. One boy poured a bottle of water on another child. The school dealt with it, and that should have been that. 3 weeks later, however, a video clip of the incident surfaced, and within hours, with the help of lawyers and the ignorant rantings of ITV's Piers Morgan and the BBC's Jeremy Vine, it was made into a global news event. And the lives of so many people were turned upside down. Such playground incidents happen every day. So why was this spat between two boys transformed into global news? Well, one of the boys was white, and the other, a Syrian refugee.
Anyway, long story short, Jamal, the Syrian refugee, doesn't appear to be quite the innocent victim the mainstream media painted him out to be.
Within a few hours of the story breaking, I was receiving dozens of messages from parents, pupils and staff, saying there was much more to the story than met the eye. So I did what any journalist could have done, should have done. I asked questions.
He wasn't innocent, he started in everyone.
He started in...
And I used to see him bully Bailey's little sisters.
This is his behaviour record. Almost 100 codes for bad behaviour. Truancy, verbal abuse to teachers, physical violence towards pupils, and lying. Yeah, there's plenty for lying.
He started calling my mum a white fat and stuff, and then he like...
You started calling your mum
a white fat
white fat
and then I went up to him, and then he, like I chucked a bottle at him, and then he put me in a headlock.
Well, I saw the video because a neighbour had shared it. And then I saw on the Yorkshire Live them making Bailey out to be really horrible and that Jamal was a poor little victim, and it wound me up. So I commented on it, the victim wasn't a victim, he hit me in the back with a hockey stick.
Listen to the clip again.
Say now then. Nothing. Say now then. Hey, nowhere.
Listen to what Bailey's saying. He's asking Jamal repeatedly, what are you saying now? It wasn't a random attack. It wasn't a racist attack. Bailey didn't threaten to stab Jamal. The playground incident was not the beginning of the story. It was a culmination of many events.
The accumulation of things that are built up to that did not deserve what happened to him or to anybody else in that situation.
Just to see what he was generally like.
No, not a nice lad.
I know, and I've tried to argue that it was in the public's interest for him to know the truth about Jamal.
He was just retaliating.
Yeah.
You know, which most people do if somebody threatens their sisters.
Because that thing of him getting caught with a knife in school, it's like, what? Caught with a knife and a screwdriver? Bailey gets expelled for pouring a bottle of water?
Yeah. He's a nasty little piece of shit.
Was he?
Yeah. And I told your solicitor that when she rung me.
Okay.
Horrible boy.
Is he?
Yeah. And it's all that.
What was he like at school then?
Nasty.
To?
Everybody and anybody. He had no respect for women at all. None. Even staff.
Jamal grabbed him by his tie, just threw him against the wall, cracked his head open against back at wall and just kept throwing him against the wall. This kid was out unconscious already. That's just malicious. That's just intent to kill.
That's listen loads of times. Well, he used to lie a lot.
But this whole thing was built off what he said, and if he lied a lot, it's a big problem.
Times, yeah.
Was it?
He was quite a violent person.
He was a violent person?
Yeah. So I was the year below and he was the year above.
Yep.
He used to, every time I walked past, try grabbing me and...
Every time you walked past him? What about, your mum said something about he put something in between his hands?
Oh yeah, it was a compass. I remembered it yesterday, just as you went. It was a compass. It got a compass and he was going around like... When he got to me, he went proper hard into me, made me bleed and everything. And I think it was Miss Ennis that proper gave him a telling off.
Okay. Well, there are testimonies from several children who alleged they were being bullied by him. Younger children, little girls, mostly girls. Is Jamal the innocent victim, you've been told?
Jamal was in your year?
Yeah, he was in the same year as me.
What was Jamal's attitude like at school?
He wasn't very nice. He called female teachers he just didn't really have respect for the female students.
Jamal had even reportedly threatened to rape Bailey's sister prior to this so-called waterboarding incident.
For things to kids, you know, about what he was going to do to sisters and what have you.
To Bailey?
To Bailey and to others.
Oh, and to others.
But not a very nice boy.
When you say what was he going to do to the sisters?
Well, he told Bailey he was going to rape them.
Given the mainstream media had demanded severe retribution against Bailey.
The usual suspects had lit the fire and were gleefully stoking the flames.
Everybody was exposing the scumbag that did this, who I hope gets severe retribution.
Words are important when you're on a daytime platform and people listen to what you say. What do you do to vermin? You exterminate it. You kill it. Lowlife, you called him a thug. But worst of all, he demanded severe retribution against this child. Piers, you demanded severe retribution. That's what you demanded against this child. Let's see if you're happy with some of this. I pray someone rapes you and your whole family while you watch. Mother, love, the Syrians will rape your family. If I saw you, I would rape you to death. You'll be raped by the Fallujah group. I hope your mother will not be racist when she is raped. Do humans a favour and kill yourself. We don't want you and you don't belong in this world. Again, imagine being that child reading them. Piers, is that severe enough for you?
They couldn't let the truth get out, and it was demanded that Tommy prove his claims were true.
I had to prove that the information reported to me was true. That's not the kind of burden placed on Piers Morgan or Jeremy Vine. Piers can describe Bailey as vermin without being held to account.
So he went about interviewing witnesses, secretly recording ex-staff, and even obtaining Jamal's school records.
I've come to Huddersfield. I'm now going to knock. I need to find witnesses. I've got addresses for many. I need to knock and talk to them and see who I can get to come to court to help me prove to you, the public. This is about as much as proving in court as proving to you, the British public, that I was the only journalist in the country who told the truth about what happened in this community.
Tommy obtained 12 witnesses, inclusive of pupils and staff, and uncovered that they had been threatened and paid off to remain silent about exposing the truth.
Before my involvement in this story, a mother went online and said her daughter had been attacked by Jamal.
I contacted that mother. She sent me images of her daughter. She said her little daughter was beaten by 3 Muslim girls and that Jamal jumped in and bit her daughter on the head. She sent me the images of the bite marks on her daughter's head. I said, can I speak to you? Can I interview you? I rang the mother, but the child was too scared to talk to me.
And did you take the comment down?
Yeah, I didn't want to, but my mum was worried for repercussions, so she asked me to take it down, so I did.
How much money is it?
I can't say the figure because if I say the figure, it goes out.
Because, mate,
18.
18. I've just found out, well, the head teacher's told us already that he was blackmailed and threatened. I've just found out of Kumar, he was paid £18,000. Paid, he said, I can't say, shh. I signed, I was paid. I said, paid what? He was paid money by the local council, so he can't tell the truth about what's gone on in that school. They've given everyone non-disclosure agreements, from school staff to governors, and Paul Kumar to get £18,000. He's not even involved. Silencing everybody, so no one can ever, this is forever, once you sign that agreement, no one can ever tell the truth, while they pushed this manufactured lie that destroyed lives, schools, communities, everyone's life. I've seen life after life after life, person after person's life destroyed, while the council, your local council, Kirklees Council, give away hundreds of thousands of pounds to make sure that the truth can never be told.
The school was even closed down to cover this up.
If you want my honest opinion, they said, get up there, this is, I don't know who they is, get up there and shut that school. Get up there and get rid of this.
You see, when the media and politicians decide to kill a story, when they decide to hide the truth from you, they'll do whatever it takes. They shut down the school. It's gone. Everyone lost their jobs. You see, once this lie about a racist attack had gone global, the truth could never be allowed to come out. The real truth, that a young Syrian refugee was struggling to fit into his new environment, was problematic. His allegedly abusive and violent conduct towards teachers and children was allowed to run unchecked.
Throughout all of this, jihadist lawyers who were trying to stop Tommy even sent an Antifa member to his house, who then proceeded to threaten his family.
But leading the posse from the front is the jihadist lawyer of choice. He represented Shamina Begum. You know, the jihadi terrorist that's out in Syria? He represented, I think, Michael Adebolajo, Lee Rigby's killer. It's Christmas 2018. The police come to my family's home to tell me that people in Antifa, far-left violent extremist organisation, are planning to kill me and my family.
It will be live streamed. I'm not in charge of filming or anything like that. That's down to the guys over here. And yeah, literally nobody wanted to do this, so we thought, what mug can we find who would agree to this?
So two lawyers who know Antifa are planning to kill me seek out an Antifa extremist, hire him for one day, just one day, and send him to live stream the serving of papers to my home, my family's home.
Tommy, I am going to mince your kids, mate.
Let's have a look at the man that they sent. The man that you can see the Muslim lawyer handing privileged documentation, giving this man my children's home address.
Yeah, they're doing this so that I don't beat them in court. That's why they're doing this, yeah.
Do you think they do know where we live?
No, mate.
Danny Barker rang me saying if anyone turns up to the house, just ring him and he'll come in a minute.
Yeah, he will, mate. Yeah, it's pissed me off. Oh, mate.
Alright, cool.
The mad thing is, the whole time this goes on, the media and all of them act like we're the bad guys. That we've been, like I'm the one persecuting people or targeting them. And they're such cowards.
Anyway, despite the mountains of evidence Tommy provided in court, the judge dismissed the case and deemed that the 12 witnesses were lying and demanded that Tommy stay silent.
12 different people lying about what Jamal was like. Why? You see, the judge has really helped us out here. The judge says people can lie for reasons that make no sense. Sometimes for no reason at all. He could not readily identify any explanation for why some of these people were prepared to do so and lie. He concludes the alleged assaults, they never happened at all. Despite Jamal's school record, which you've seen, the judge states the claimant's record is overwhelmingly positive. He acknowledged Jamal has a record of lying, but decides on this occasion it's Jamal who's telling the truth and everyone else is lying. The day the 5 courageous children appeared in the dock, giving testimony against Jamal. Jamal didn't even show up in court that day to face his accusers. Neither did the press. The press actually left court when the witnesses stood up to give their evidence in my defence. It's alarming to think we have this kind of intellect at the top of our judiciary.
Tommy was trying to do the right thing by telling the truth, but the establishment and the Islamists don't want their lies to be exposed, so they're trying to silence him. This whole incident has destroyed his marriage.
It's caused my divorce and bankruptcy. My ex-wife had to choose between her marriage to me and the safety of our children. I'm glad she chose our children. We're still best mates. You see, Jamal's lawyers told me very early on, if I apologised and paid them 50 grand, they'd drop their case. If you're watching this, you know the decision I made. I won't apologise for reporting what I was told, for what I believe to be true, for standing up for Bailey, a young lad unjustly vilified by pretty much everyone.
But he feels that truth is what matters most.
People ask me, was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. The truth is always worth defending. I'm still here. If you were born in the United Kingdom, you've already won the lottery of life. An inheritance from our parents and grandparents of freedom, equality under English law and democracy. If we allow ourselves to be silenced, that inheritance is rendered worthless. What legacy will we leave for the children and grandchildren who come after us? None of us can afford to let free speech die. We cannot and we will not be silenced.
It's also important to note the mainstream media accused Tommy of repeating false claims about Jamal, but they fail to mention what those false claims are, and also fail to mention any of the evidence that Tommy had provided. Tommy even took a mentally deteriorating Bailey in at a point in time and allowed him to live with him so that he would be safe.
This is a mental health record for Bailey McLaren. Bailey was referred to Luton CAMS by Luton and Dunstable Psychiatry Liaison on the 31st of December 2018. Reason, patient involved in incident in Huddersfield and has been relocated to Luton with family. Patient unable to cope with not returning home. Piers, you have a son. You have children. Demanding severe retribution against a child for a school playground dispute is unforgivable. You sit there and you preach. You preach against us. You make your accusations against me. Never have I labelled Muslim children as vermin. Never have I demanded my followers to commit severe retribution against anybody.
Bailey was amongst the crowd at the rally when the video was played. A teenager who had his life destroyed over a playground incident was finally given the chance to have his side of the story heard.
Wow, it sounds like the establishment and these Islamists really don't want this information getting out to the public.
Yeah, it does. It would be a real shame if someone made a video about it. Although I must say, I don't agree with Tommy linking the behavior of some, but not all Muslims to the teachings of Islam. Correlation doesn't necessarily apply causation. I mean, think about it. A young boy stabbing non-believers, threatening to rape young girls, treating women with disrespect and frequently lying. Not to mention the stories of the grooming gangs, who are predominantly made up by Muslim men. These men who are taking underage girls almost as if they are sex slaves and having their way with them. It's pretty sick and not something you'd expect from Islam, the religion of peace and tolerance.
Yeah, good point, Arthur. I mean, I have no clue where people would get the idea that those actions would be justifiable. I mean, it's not like Islam preaches that non-believers are the worst of creatures who should be violently subjugated. Or that violence against women is okay.
Do you believe women should be subject to laws? If you do believe that women should be subject to laws, then that means you believe women should be subject to all kinds of violence, including being beaten, jailed, even executed. That's what it means to be subject to the law. So there really is no difference between Islam on quote unquote wife beating and human rights. Both Islam and human rights are in 100% agreement that women are accountable if they break the law. And that means Islam and human rights are in 100% agreement that women should be beaten.
Or that lying is permissible in situations which could put the Muslim community in danger. Or that having sex slaves is permissible.
A Muslim man
can have up to 4 wives at once. And in addition to the 4 wives, he can have an unlimited number of concubines, which refer to women who are basically have slave status. When they are owned by her master, a woman owned by her master has to freely give herself to the master. The master has the right to have sexual relations with her as though she were one of his wives.
Females do have to consent to that, or is it kind of like because she's owned and so therefore?
In the classical thought, the understanding is that by virtue of the fact that she's owned, she does not have the right to consent. Or to withhold herself from her master.
Or that having sex with underage girls is okay.
The general principle in Islam is, you know, you can do what you kind of want, so long as, I'm not going to say you can do what you want so long as you harm it. You can marry whomever you want to marry, so long as it doesn't cause them harm, physical and psychological. So, for example, if I marry a 100-year-old woman, or sneaker, if you marry with your tank top a 100-year-old woman, and you get involved with her intimately, she might die. I mean, she might have some kind of health problem. So we would say that, well, if you were to be intimate with a 14-year-old or 13-year-old who's got huge hips and huge breasts and huge body, I mean, quite frankly, we would say it's not going to have the same effect medically. I mean, no one can make the argument. But in these countries where we live in now, one is legal and one is illegal. So, in other words, you can't marry a 100-year-old woman, but you can marry that girl that's, you can't be. You're a pedophile if you go for the girl that's got the hips. And once again, pedophilia is very relative.
These girls, they're going through puberty at age 9. They're getting a boyfriend. They're engaging in all kinds of sexual behaviors at their schools, with their teachers or whatever, in zina. This is a myth. Again, an image that's, a 9-year-old is like a little toddler. No, a 9-year-old who has gone through puberty is not a toddler. And you can go to the public schools and they're sexually active. And this is the reality of the modern West, because they've abolished this idea of minor marriage.
Or that Muhammad himself had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl named Aisha, or that Muhammad would allow his followers temporary marriages when they were away from their wives, which involved giving random women a present in exchange for the temporary use of their body, which today is known as prostitution. These Muslims couldn't possibly have got any of these ideas from Islam.
No, of course not. It couldn't have anything to do with Islam at all.
Anyway, thanks for sharing, Arthur. It sounds like the establishment and Islamists in the UK really don't want this information getting out and really want to make sure Tommy is silenced.
Yes, it sure does. It would be a real shame if someone were to make a video explaining this and provide links in the description box as to where people can go to find the banned documentary, the series on the Muslim grooming gangs, the petition to stop the unjust prosecution of Tommy Robison, and also the link to his social media account, so that they can follow this story.
I agree, Arthur. That would be a real shame.
Most hated man in Britain. All your lives didn't work. And the best thing is, we're unifying the people. Exactly what you wanted to stop. You wanted to divide them, you wanted to separate us. So we look divided,